Vir and Vira were born in a secluded village on a mountain. Day after day, their parents plowed the yellow dry soil with their backs towards the sky. One day, Vira wanted to buy a handkerchief, which all girls around her seemed to have. So, she stole 2 rupees from her father's drawer. Father discovered about the stolen money right away. Who stole the money? He asked Vir and Vira. Vira was stunned, too afraid to talk. Neither of them admitted to the fault. So the father said, "Fine, if nobody wants to admit, you both should be punished." Suddenly, Veer, the younger brother, gripped the father's hand and said, "Dad, I was the one who did it." He took the blame and punishment for Veera. In the middle of the night, all of a sudden, Veera cried out loudly. Veer covered her mouth with his little hand and said, "Sister, now don't cry anymore. Everything has happened." Veera would never forget her brother's expression when he protected her. Veera still hated herself for not having enough courage to admit what she did. Years went by, but the incident still seemed like it just happened yesterday. When brother Veera was in the last year of secondary school, he was accepted in an upper secondary school in the central part of town. At the same time, Veera was accepted into a university in the province. That night, father squatted in the yard. Veera could hear him asking her mother, "Both of our children, they have good results, very good results." Mother wiped off her tears and sighed. "What is the use? How can we possibly finance both of them?" At that time, Veer walked out and stood in front of his father and said, "Dad, I don't want to continue my studies anymore. I have read enough books." Father became angry. "Why do you have a spirit so weak? Even if it means I have to beg for money on the streets, I will. I will send you two to school until you have both finished your studies." And then he started to knock on every house in the village to borrow money. Veera stuck out her hand as gently as she could to her brother's face and told him, "A boy has to continue his study. If not, he will not be able to overcome the poverty they were experiencing." Veera, on the other hand, had decided not to study further at the university. Nobody knew that on the next day before dawn, Veer left the house with a few pieces of worn out clothes and a few dry beans. He sneaked to Veera's side of the bed and left a note on her pillow. "Sister, getting into university is not easy. I will go find a job and I will send money to you." She held the note while sitting on her bed and cried until she lost her voice. With the money father borrowed from the whole village and the money Veer earned from carrying cement on his back at a construction site, finally Veera managed to get to the third year of her study in the university. That year, her brother was 17 years old and she was 20. One day, while she was studying in her room, a roommate came in and told her, "There's a villager waiting for you outside." She thought, "Why would there be a villager looking for me?" She walked out and saw Veer, her brother, from far. His whole body was covered with dirt, dust, cement and sand. She asked him, "Why did you not tell my roommate that you are my brother?" He replied with a smile, "Look at my appearance. What will they think if they would know that I am your brother? Won't they laugh at you?" She felt so touched. Tears filled in her eyes. She swept away dirt and dust from her brother's body and told, with a lump in her throat, "I don't care what people would say. You are my brother, no matter what your appearance is." Veera could not hold back herself anymore. She pulled her brother into her arms and cried. That year, Veer was 20 and Veera was 23 years old. After Veera got married, she lived in the city. Many times her husband invited her parents to come and live with them, but they didn't want. They said once they left the village, they wouldn't know what to do. Veer agreed with them. "Sister, You just take care of your parents-in-law. I will take care of mom and dad here. Vira's husband became the directors of the factory. So they asked Vir to accept the offer of being the manager in the maintenance department. But Vir rejected the offer. He insisted on working as a repairman instead, for a start. One day, Vir was on the top of a ladder repairing a cable when he got electrocuted and was sent to the hospital. Vira and her husband visited him at the hospital. Looking at the plaster cast on his leg, she grumbled, "Why did you reject the offer of being a manager? Managers won't do something dangerous like that. Now look at you. You are suffering a serious injury. Why didn't you listen to us?" With a serious expression on his face, he defended his decision. Think of brother-in-law. He just became the director. If I, being uneducated, would become a manager, what kind of rumors would fly around? Her husband's eyes filled with tears. And then she said, "But you lack in education only because of me." "Why do you talk about the past?" he said. And then he held her hand. That year, he was 26 and Vira was 29 years old. When Vir was 30 years old, he got married to a farmer's girl from the village. During the wedding reception, the master of ceremonies asked him, "Who is the one person you respect and love the most?" Without even taking time to think, he answered, "My sister." He continued by telling a story Vira could not even remember. When I was in primary school, the school was in a different village. Every day my sister and I would walk for 2 hours to school and back home. One day, I lost one of my gloves. My sister gave me one of hers. She wore only one glove and she had to walk far. When we got home, her hands were trembling because of the cold weather. She could not even hold her spoon. From that day on, I swore that as long as I lived, I would take care of my sister and would always be good to her. Applause filled up the room. Vira found it hard to speak. In her whole life, the one she would like to thank most is her brother. And in this happy occasion, in front of crowd, tears were rolling down her face again. Love and care for the one you love every single day of your life. You may think what you did is just small deed, but to that someone, it may mean a lot. Some relations are made to be last longer, but they still need to be nurtured with love and care. To listen to many such wonderful stories, please like, subscribe and share the video. Talk to you again.